Welcome to OA 50, where we'll master mediocrity and find meaning in the dictionary and fight for the respect of dad jokes. Here we go. All right, here I am, here you are. The legacy of video now begins as we're taking the switch to YouTube. So you're not confined to this voice, you get it all. Mug, about a third of me, and whatever happens within these four walls here. So I decided before I start launching some episodes on YouTube, it may be a good idea to give some color on what's coming up. And so that you have a little forecast and can anticipate the upcoming episodes. I'm reading notes. I got to get used to this balance between looking at an outline. And by the way, I don't usually use a script when I'm recording the podcast. I just have a few notes, concepts, and kind of run with it, because my thought is either I know the material and what I'm talking about, or I don't. And if I don't, probably shouldn't go live with it. What do you think about that? Okay, so, but for this, I did want to cover a few things, actually two things. So one, I've gotten some feedback on the podcast so far, the existing episodes that I wanted to share and what I'm going to do about that. And also the breakdown of a few episodes that are coming up. So let's talk about the feedback. First, I've heard that the music in the background is distracting. I've heard that from more than one listener. And, the reason why I did it originally was to try to, I guess, give some pep, make it lively, particularly if the content, although interesting, may not be riveting, and to kind of, I guess, add some pop ambience to the podcast. But I get it. In fact, when I've listened to some of the episodes that have already been launched, I'm kind of mixed on whether or not I like the background music. So I'm going to can it. That's why you're not hearing it now. And but if you like it, I can always put it back. I'm mixing that stuff. So anytime I can get out my music, I love it. Now, I will say that a lot of it is pre-recorded loops. I'm still mixing, still doing it, still putting it together. I mean, the loops by themselves are not magic, but once they're intertwined with a little creativity, that's where you get the fantastic intro that you heard. Who knows? So, all right. Second piece of feedback that I got was somebody's heard enough of the dad jokes. What? Anyway, so I got some feedback on that I need to just tamp those down, stop the jokes, stop referencing the jokes, just put it to rest. Here's the predicament. One, I'm a dad. Two, I like jokes. And I'm sure there's like a third or fourth there too. But you take the dad part, I like the joke part. I don't know what I do. I mean, it's part of my biology. I have no idea what I can do about this. So, I mean, I could always go back and edit and like pull that out. But it seems to me that there would be less friction if you just pop that fast forward, that little button for 15 seconds, do that. And I think, my best guess is I probably I don't know, I throw out a dad joke every 30 seconds or so. I think that's probably my cadence. So just anticipate that. If you hear one, know that in about half a minute, probably going to hear another one. So just keep the thumb on the trigger. But I'll do my best. I will do my best to remain conscientious of the dad jokes. And I'll try to reduce the frequency or at least deliver it better, work on the content. I'll do something to fix the problem, or at least I'll tell you I'm going to fix the problem. We'll see. Okay, so, but I do get it because they suck. Third and last piece of feedback that I got is that my character voices on the trailer and Q&A are just flat creepy. Well, they are. They are. I'm working with a voice modulator. I was trying to, go deep, kind of New York accent, and then go just squeaky with, I don't even know what the accent is. And then I did on the trailer. I wanted to make it kind of Bond-like, suspenseful. And I started with a British accent, then it turned Australian, neither of which sounded authentic. And then it just ended up being some foreign tongue that nobody's identified yet. I have no idea what happened. But as far as those, look, I'll like the dad jokes. I will do my best to put those to rest too, but no promises. We'll just see what happens. Okay, so now that those are out of the way, let's see what we got next. Thinking about it, now that I'm going video, get a call on this. I should have muted it. Now that I'm going video, I can't imagine the feedback that I'm going to get because, again, what happens within this, I was going to say square, but it's really a rectangle. My son could tell you that. Who knows? Sky's the limit. And with a personality like mine, I'm scared, and you should be scared too. Okay, so let's talk about the episodes. I think there's really some good content coming up. And I'll try to make it dad joke free, no music, and just really get to the switches. Again, my goal every episode is to deliver it all within 15 minutes or less. And but it's a good mix. So the first, and by the way, this isn't necessarily in the order that they're going to be released. They're all in the works at various stages on where they are in terms of completion. But first one's polarity switch. This is all about polarity, masculine, feminine, in relationships. Now, it's very often spoken about in terms of sexuality and intimacy in relationships. That will definitely, I think, be implicit in the content, but I'm more geared towards attraction. Oh, there's a possible breach. I hear my daughter. Here she comes. I didn't block it up. I'm going to pause and come back. She's about to have a meltdown. All right, I'm back. Oh, man. Reach, 3-year-old. If I'm home, easy target. Always, like they can just sniff me out. I could be outside in a bush. Anyway, enough of that. So where was I? Polarity switch. So that episode, although it will definitely have implications in terms of intimacy and all that good stuff, it's more geared towards attraction. Think about your relationship in the honeymoon phase, how great that felt. So amped up about each other. And now you've been together, who knows, probably years, right? And that spark is, it's gone. And it's not that the attraction's really gone or even the spark so much, right? Just not being lit. And the polarity theory, its focus is that men and women carry both masculine and feminine energy. And when we think about the relationship and all its various components, that attraction is at its best when that balance of masculine and feminine energy, you're hitting it on the right stroke. I mean, traditionally, men and their masculine energy or the woman and her feminine energy. But when you think about that polarity and you go in with the right perspective, there are really some things you can do that you can concentrate both yourself individually and what you can ignite in the other person that's pretty amazing. And you might ask yourself, well, how would I know? Well, let your imagination be your guide. But it's true. And whether it's really about magnetism and polarity, who knows? But fundamentally, the practical skills that you pay attention to, I think are just healthy for the relationship. And so for you dudes, I've got 5. That 3-year-old up there can count that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 switches I'm going to offer you that you can try to employ in your relationship. And look, ladies, listen in. In fact, write them down yourself and hand them to them. But it's the idea is I'm going to talk about those. I'm going to talk about some real life application. I apologize in advance to my wife, and here's a breach again. Be right back. Dude, that's real life. It just happened. And we're not talking number 1. We're talking number 2. And I'm okay. I survived. Okay. So where was I again? Polarity. Anyway, fascinating topic. And it's not just theory. The stuff really works. In fact, I would love to do a whole series on it. I immersed myself in kind of this theory and how it's been used in relationships, tons of books on it and a lot of research, and it's just fascinating. But I'll keep it simple on that episode, and I guarantee you, you're going to love it. If you don't know anything about it, oh, dude, you're really, really going to love it. Next one is called, and there may be some trepidation here, but it's called the God Switch. And yes, it will be about religion. And I will give some insight into my own personal beliefs, what that journey has looked like, where I am now, and what I would like the future to look like. And it's probably going to be a series. I would love to interview some good pastors from different religions, asking them very similar questions. And but the idea is to use where I am as a framework, and it's definitely not about proselytizing. I'm not sharing any of my insight for the purpose of convincing or, I guess, trying to woo others to my perspective. In fact, I look at it as a true, real journey. And but I think it's an invocation to anybody who listens to this that it's the journey everybody ought to think about. And for me, I think about it quite a bit and have for a very long time. And I've had a meandering path. And so the idea is it's an open dialogue. And although there's only one mic involved in this, I'm hopeful that there will be other participants, even you, in trying to figure out that switch, that relationship. And this is the 4th breach. Hold on just a sec. Dude, I mean, real life. So we just emptied the tank, right? Naturally, she wants to fill it. Just trials and tribulations as a dad. And you wonder why I joke? Oh, man, she is just so awesome. Man, beautiful. And I won't show her on this podcast. It's not going to happen. As much as I'd like to, she's a cutie. All right, so God switch. It's going to be good. Stay tuned for that one. The next one's going to be the raw switch, something like that. The idea is, I think it'll probably have some nexus to the God switch, but it will also give some insight into who I am, some of the impetus behind this podcast. I want to make it real. I mean, I'm talking about a lot of deep concepts, and I feel like if I'm authentic in offering who I am and talk about that in real terms, the stuff, the concepts, the switches in particular, those will manifest better. And I know if I was listening and knew the host more about them and why they have connectivity to the concepts, it would be more meaningful for me. And so I'm going to open up. I'm going to give it to you. And, but it's part of my fabric, and it's nothing I fear. It's going to be great. My wife may have a different opinion, so I'll probably have to clear that through a committee before that gets released. Next one's going to be the persuasion switch. I've already released the primer, and so you'll see through the rest of that series is a breakdown of the 6 switches. Remember, people skills. Telling you, they may sound simplistic in nature, but if you think about them, actually use them, it will change the tides of your conversation. And if you're like in some high stakes, I'm not even talking about professional negotiations, but you and your partner, it's a big issue and you're trying to work through it. Keep those in mind, and you will navigate it seamlessly. And I don't mean only in the sense that you'll be able to persuade or at least open up more effectively about your own perspective, but you will truly be able to guide towards some reasonable conclusion. Telling you, listen to those. They're good. Last one that I've got teed up, at least in the near future, is Mission Impossible switch. Look, the idea there is life is a lab. Treat each day like it's an experiment. Enjoy it. Get out there and try new things. And I'm going to talk about some switches or some things you can do to really kind of alter the mindset, and so that you can play different roles and really enjoy that experience. Because I do it all the time. I'm quirky, goofy, it's ridiculous, but it makes it fun. And so hopefully you'll get some insight out of that, and you'll find yourself doing things, I don't want to say like me, because that just sounds bad, but at least stepping out of your element a little bit and having some fun in the process. We'll see. So anyway, I appreciate you listening. A lot more to come. Smug's now involved. It's going to be fantastic. And got so much more space that I can use. That's going to be interesting. We'll see you.